Sachin, you can stop the music. Yeah, Mithil, hi, you're audible.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Mithil, one more thing. The question you had sent, I have set up all the questions,
Hmm.
and the one question was descriptive in the nature.
Okay.
So
We can,
that question, no, that question can be done through the chat window.
sure.
Cool.
That's fine.
Cool.
Hi, Mithil. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Saket. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? All fine?
I'm doing good too. Thank you so much.
Great, great. So it's 7:53. We'll start sharp at 8, right?
Sure, sounds good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I hope everyone is really excited for this session today. By the way, the session is totally open for all of your queries. So feel free to drop any questions that you want to. right? We have a really interesting speaker among with us today. So please make the best out of it, right? And let's make it a really interactive session with our speaker today, right? And yeah, ask all your questions, any burning questions that you have, right? And we'll try to accommodate as many questions as you can, right? So the chat window is open, right? During the session, everyone can drop their questions and we'll basically club all those questions and we'll basically pick up some questions, right? So yeah, looking forward to a great session today. And we'll start sharp at 8, right? So we just have 3 minutes left. Guys, by the way, I can see really low turn up today. If you are connected with your peers, your cohort members, kindly drop them a text. Let them know that we are starting, right? Guys, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know yes, no, or I won't call anything, right? Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Hi, Dinesh. Welcome. Hi, Kapil. Hi, Randeep. Hi, Girija. Akshay, hi. Neha, welcome. Turkish, welcome. Right. So we are at dot 8. TA, we can start recording and let's start the session, right? Okay. Hi, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to this third episode on Product Week 2024. Um, Product Week is a conscious effort by Team Accredian to bring some industry giants in front of you to share their feedback and understanding of the product landscape, right? And to give you a first-hand experience as to what goes into the whole life cycle of product development, right? And chasing this particular theme, we have today with us a very distinguished guest Mr. Mithil Srivastav. Mithil is a techie at heart, but a problem solver by profession, right? He has been associated in the industry for past 14 years now. He has worked in industries like software development, real estate, and also he has a stint in a startup also, which is very interesting. We all want to know it, Mithil. And yeah, so in today's episode, we guarantee you an in-depth, a very hands-on experience on the whole cycle of product development. And yeah, Mithil, the floor is all yours. Let us know what we have in store for us, right? And yeah, go ahead, Mithilesh. Really glad to have you today.
Awesome. Saikat, thank you so much for the introduction and organizing the session. I think our Accredian team has done a great job at organizing this entire piece. It's been a great pleasure interacting with you right from the first go. I see 23 attendees, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome on board. What I would want to do is probably present my screen as well. Just give me a quick second. Let me know once the screen is visible.
The screen is visible, Mithil.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think folks will join slowly. The headcount is low as of now, but we will go up.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, topic for today is breakdown to breakthrough. And mainly what we'll be looking at in this entire presentation is what is exactly a product failure, what you learn from it, and how do you make sure that this does not happen with your experience. Okay, a little bit about myself. I'm Mithil. I work as a vice president for the Isprava Group. A little bit about my journey. I started off as a developer myself. I used to do mobile application development back in the day in 2010. I started off my career with Persistent Systems Limited. From there on, I moved as a product manager at HDFC Red. Post that, I worked for Quikr Reality for some time. Post that, I had my own startup. I had a computer vision-based startup wherein we would provide analytics on CCTV cameras for the government and NGOs and other organizations. We did that for 2 years. Then I moved on as a full-time consultant. I was consulting for a number of companies. I was consulting for Isprava, Style Tracker, World Bank, and also HDFC Sales. From there on, for the last 5 years, I've been working with the Isprava Group company, mainly looking at the entire tech ecosystem and product ecosystem at the Isprava Group. A disclaimer, this session is conducted in personal capacity, and I'm not representing my firm. Any opinions that I share over here are my personal opinions. Okay, that's a little about myself. What I would want to do is jump in right to our agenda. So we're done with the introduction. What we'll be looking at is my understanding of how product management has evolved in the last couple of years. Then we'll look at what's exactly a successful product. How do we rate a successful product? Then my experience with, I would say, some of the failed products that I have personally worked on, and then my learnings, so that all of us can share those learnings together. Okay, so before we jump on to the detailed slides, right? I would love to understand how many of y'all have worked as a product manager at some level. It need not be like a complete product manager with a very high experience, but yeah, I would love to understand from you guys. And let's keep this as a very interactive session because I'd love to know more about yourself so that I can structure my communication accordingly. Okay. So it's 50-50. Some of y'all have worked with product management and some of y'all have not. Okay, cool. Thank you, Saikat. I think, okay. Let me move to the next question. I'm clear on this. How many of you, like, out of the ones who've said yes, how many of y'all know about product metrics? Like what metric to follow at what stage? Oh, great. So around 70% people do have some idea about metrics. Okay. 60%. That's fine. So don't worry. For the rest 40% who have not really worked around with metrics, don't worry. We will cover them and I'll make sure that we go through and understand what these product metrics stand for and why is it so important. Okay, cool. Thank you, Saikat. I think we can move. Okay, so before we jump into some of the products, successes and failures, what I would want to do is I would also want to talk about how the product management as a field has evolved in the last couple of years. So basically, everybody that you'll talk to will tell you that product management evolves every 6 months or every 12 months. And as cliched as it sounds, it's very true. I've given you some of the pointers over here, and I'll go through some pointers in detail. But let me start with a very anecdotal thought process over here, right? I'm sure everybody knows a product requirement document. This is a document that a product manager creates, which is then circulated to your designs and engineering team for them to work on. 2 years back, I would work on a PRD. After getting all the information, it would take me anywhere from 4 to 5 days to close a PRD. Last year, with the advancement of Notion AI and a lot of these other tools, it took me maybe 2 to 3 days. Today, it takes me 8 to 10 hours. It's come to within a day. And why is it come within a day, right? Because I and my team leverage on AI a lot. We don't rely on this 100%, but what that does is we use ChatGPT and Claude for a lot of our research. We use Figma AI and Figma components for a lot of our low fidelity wireframes. What that means is now, obviously, we are more inclined towards making sure that our product structure is ready, making sure that our user stories are covered, making sure that our requirement is as comprehensive as it can be. Leave the documentation part, leave the low fidelity wireframe part to tools like ChatGPT, Claude, your Figma, and there's an amazing website which is called writemyprd.com. All you have to do is upload your user stories. It'll give you a structure, and then all you need to do is just make changes to it. So a lot of your time you can save with these AI and involvement and enhancements. And trust me, this is just gonna go better. So what you need to do is you need, as a product manager, you need to focus on the right scenarios, right constraints, and right situations that you need to handle. Okay. Secondly, now that you have more time available in your hand, right? What do? So obviously, product management, you have a product definition and everything for sure, right? But in addition to that, it's very important to, as a product manager, to now also learn many no-code tools and automations. I'm sure a lot of you all must have tried playing around with some website creation tools like Wix or Bubble. I would encourage you to use more of these tools and try creating those small MVPs, those small mini products yourself. Use stuff like a Zapier to connect the two applications, or an N8N to create automated flows and workflows. So a lot of these MVPs, or these small products, mini products, is something that you can do yourself as a product manager, and you need not go to your engineering team. Because what would happen is, when you're now thinking of a big product, it would take the engineering team, let's say 3 to 4 months to come up with a product or develop the product, right? But in the meantime, what you can do is quickly with these no-code tools, like I said, right? Bubble, Wix, Tally, and N8N or Zapier, you can just create these mini products which you can roll out into the internal team, at least to start experimenting how these products are working. Then once you get the final product, then replace the final product with the older one. So again, as a product manager, you'll have to deep dive into a lot of these no-code tools, and this will become a big part of your role as well. Third point, back in July 2013, or somewhere around mid of 2023, Brian Chesky, who's the CEO of Airbnb, made a statement that product management is dead. Now, as weird as it sounds, it did to me as well. But what I did is I actually went and researched on exactly what he was trying to say. What he was trying to actually say is that the traditional product management is something that will face a decline. His idea was that a product manager also needs to understand the marketing and the growth aspects. What that means is, as a product manager, you need to also know how you're going to market the product to the entire world. Please understand that this is a product created by you. You understand the product best. So it's your responsibility also to be a part of the marketing and marketing discussions, and market the product in the best way possible to your customers. Please remember, if you may have a great product, but if it's not marketed in the right manner, it's not going to succeed. Okay. Point number 4, I'd like to take this point with an example. 2 years back, Amazon one-day delivery sounded great, right? You were so happy that, and we would pray for Amazon Prime to get a one-day delivery. Nowadays, 10-minute delivery with Zepto and Blinkit and Instamart just seems that's the trend now, right? So that quick commerce is now moving to quick fast food and quick food, and also quick e-commerce, right? And fashion. I recently saw an ad wherein Maneuver was delivering 10 minutes traditional clothing, which was insane. So user behavior will change. A lot of your users would want things faster, just because that convenience and that option is available to them. This is one example I'm giving you, but there'll be a lot of these changes which will keep coming to your table every now and then. On the fifth point, with a lot of these AI enhancements and with a lot of these personalization tools, personalization is going to become a thing of future. Okay. You must have seen the crazy push notification that Zomato sends, which is personalized to the T. That is going to become a norm because these applications of products know more about you. Okay. And they understand how to recommend a product to you, which needs to catch your attention. As a product manager, it is your responsibility also to understand how to convert a non-paying user into a paying user. So you will have to understand and look at this personalization and look at how you can enhance the user experience constantly. It's not a one-time thing. You will have to focus on this at a regular basis. Okay, so you've seen this is like massive change from where we were in 2022. In 2 years, we've done so much. We've come so a long way in product itself. Okay. Now moving on, before I move to my next slide, I would also now have to ask a few questions for people who worked as a product manager. I would love to understand how your experience has been with product management. Have you tried and failed, or you know, or you've just had a great luck and you're a pro at product management? Wow, I love that people are honest. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So 97% people say that they have failed at least once. I'll note that down, and I really appreciate your honesty. We'll move to the next question. I would love to understand what's your definition of a successful product. How do you define a successful product? I think this we can I can look at the chat. So I'll quickly jump to the chat, guys. Please feel free to please feel free to drop your comments in the chat. Okay, fulfill the customer expectation, right? Satisfy user need. If it meets the vision and goal, great. Customer satisfaction, great. Contribute to requirement of stakeholders, great. Meets customer needs, great. Solves the problem solved, solves problem, great. Exceeds customer expectation. Working product, okay. Market fit, meets KPIs, user needs, great. Awesome. I love that the team is very well informed, and I love your answers that came through. So most of y'all have said that it should meet, okay, customer, that's right. Okay, I'm just gonna close the chat, and most of y'all have said that yes, it should solve a problem, right? For sure, solving a problem is a must when you are thinking of a successful product, right? But a lot of y'all have also said a number of other things as well, and which are equally important, if not more. Let me start with the first point, which is achieve product market fit. Now think of a product which you created, which is an amazing product, but there's nobody who wants to use the product, right? So you need to ensure that the product that you're creating is acceptable in the market. It's something that the customers would need and would eventually pay for it. So you need to ensure that the product that is going outside to the market or to the real world is something that is useful to the product. It should not be something that is a good to have, or a, you know, which does not make a difference in the user or customer's life. You need to make sure that this product is actually solving a problem, and it's a big enough problem for the market. Okay. Second, any product or any feature that you launch has to align with your company vision. So remember, a company vision will depend on multiple factors, right? It's how your CEO perceives the company. It's which stage of the journey you're in with respect to your growth aspect, and we'll cover that a little later as well. But your product needs to achieve the business metrics that it's given. Many a times it will be revenue, many a times it'll be acquisition, and many a times it'll be just that I have a great customer base. I just want to retain this customer base. Okay. So again, your product that you're building for has to align with your company vision and the business metrics that it's set. Okay. Third thing, and which is something that many of y'all share as well, that should be easy to use. It should be intuitive. It should be as simple as possible. The design, the user experience that the customer has while using the product, there should not be any tutorial which is needed. Don't overcomplicate, keep it as simple to ensure that the person who's using the application or the product understands it without any guidance. Okay. Next point, which is customer satisfaction, is also something that a lot of you pointed out, wherein the customer should be overjoyed with the product and its feature set. So yeah, I think this is self-explanatory. Your customers who are using the product have to be overjoyed not only while using the product, but they should come back to the product, and they should also become your promoters to sell or to promote your product to their friends and family. That's something that comes under Net Promoter Score. This you will learn as in upcoming sessions as well. Finally, you create a great product, but if it's not scalable, there's not much you can do after that, right? So you need to ensure that the product you're building for can be scaled in future. It may not be the best product out there in the market today, but it should be scalable in future. That's something that you need to ensure from day one. Okay, you don't want to redo this product every time. Okay, again, all these aspects are very important, and you need to make sure you constantly iterate your product to solve all the above points. Okay, and again, solving a problem is the key, and that's the overarching point to the entire product aspect. Okay, moving on. I think one person who said he did not feel great. I think you're yet to go through a lot of product scenarios, but you know, in my journey, when I've spoken to a lot of these product managers, right, a number of them say, you know, I've not failed. Okay, and that's because there's a very negative connotation attached to a failure. But please remember, a product failure is not something that has to be taken in a negative way. A product failure should be taken in a way wherein you learn from the product and you tried and you experimented. You know, Jeff Bezos in one of his books wrote that there are two types of failures. One is failure after experimentation and failure not experimenting. The first failure is perfectly fine. The second failure is not acceptable, right? So please make sure you experiment, you try it out, you fail, and you learn from the failure. Okay, that's very important. Now, how do I define a failed product? Multiple aspects, and these will overlap with what we spoke earlier as well. First is, again, to meet failure to meet customer needs or expectations. Now, when you're designing a product, please keep in mind what customer needs. Do in-depth research, do in-depth study with the customer, do unit testing with the customers, understand, empathize with the users as to what they expect out of the product. It's very difficult to go back to a customer with another, like once the customer has seen that your product does not work, it's very difficult to gain that trust back. Okay, so make sure that you are right to the point when you're giving that person what they need. Okay, second is failure to meet business needs. This is something we covered in the slide earlier as well, wherein your company or business metrics are something specific, but your product does not achieve any of those business metrics. Your product is achieving some other vanity metric that is not even relevant to the company, right? So that itself is not a product which is contributing to your business goals, and hence it's not really a successful product to the company. Okay. Third is failure in product design or usability, wherein you've designed a complicated UX wherein your product journey is being completed, but the user is not able to understand the journey. Okay, it's getting overwhelming for that user. So idea is that you keep the UX as simple as possible and let users sail smoothly when they're using the application. Fourth point is something that I really want to highlight. As a product manager or as innovators or creators, we love to make stuff. But many a times, please go in the market and see if this solution already exists and reuse that solution. Let me give you a very simple example, right? Many a times, there are these CRM tools available in the market. But instead of using an existing CRM, which is already built by someone where people have researched on it and people have built, many people want to build their own CRM for the sake of it. Okay. So please look at the problem, see if you can already pick up an existing solution which is there in the market and use that. Unless you find that, no, this solution does not meet my requirements, I need to build something and I need to build something now, that's the time you go ahead and build that product. Okay, so mostly try and see if you can already buy something. Otherwise, that's the only option is then to build in-house. Okay. Next is the timing. Now, a timing can go wrong in both the directions. You may be too early in the market or you may be too late in the market. Too early, I'm not sure if you all know about this product called Tiny Owl. Tiny Owl was this food delivery application even before Swiggy and Zomato came into picture. Back then, there was no adoption and there were many challenges, operational challenges, due to which Tiny Owl had to close down. And they did everything right, but just the timing was not right. They were too early for the market. Whereas now, if you see, and let's stick to the same space. If you think of a new food delivery application, you're already too late in the market. People like Zomato, Swiggy, and there are other smaller players as well in the market who are already dominating the space. So it's very difficult for you to come up with the same application or same product in the same domain. So timing has to be right. You have to either, you can't be either early or you can't be late. You have to time your product so well that it has to hit the right product at the right time. Okay. Next point that I'd like to highlight is also that, you may have a great product. You may have done great user testing. You may have done great consumer testing. You built also a great product with an amazing UX, which also aligns with the company needs. But if you are not able to market or sell the product to the world, then that product is no good. It will fail because there's no takers. You can't do business with that product. So ensure once you build a great product, you have a great marketing and sales channel for the product. Seventh is just poor execution operationally. And let's cover the same space, food delivery application. Imagine you have a great product when you're able to order food, but the delivery partners are just not able to deliver your food on time. You will have a very bad experience and the execution will lead to failure of your product. Eighth is failure to adapt to market changes or consumer trends. Many a times, as a product owner, we get so stuck with the solution or we get so stuck with the feature set that we don't adapt to market changes. And that's where we lose ground. A very classic example is I used to use this application called Vehicle on the Go. This was on the streets of Bombay. You would have seen these e-bikes there. It did not see a lot of adoption from customers and it just failed. It did not adapt anything else, right? On the contrary, there's a similar startup which is called Yulu. Yulu, while they saw this change, while they saw this, that the market was not adopting very easily to a B2C kind of a model, they went into a B2B model as well. They opened up their e-bikes to the delivery partners from Swiggy, Zomato, or e-commerce portals as well. And they saw a rise in revenue. Today, they are EBITDA positive in today's market, wherein they are growing and growing in a positive manner. So that's the aim, that you adapt to how the market is changing and use that to your advantage. Finally, we all know resource constraints, wherein it may so happen that you may have a great product, but there's just so much resource that your company would like to put in a product or your investors would like to put in a product, and it just can lead to a product failure. Okay. Now, I also want to share a trend or an analysis as to, out of the 100% products that go live or features that go live, how many of them fail? If you were to think of a number, just think of a number in your head, and I'm going to share this analysis in just 3 seconds. So this is a study done by most of these business schools. Harvard School says that 80 to 90% of the products fail or features fail. Nielsen, which is into data crunching and reporting, that says 85% products fail. Michigan State University says 80 to 90% products fail. Whereas Foster Business School says 80 to 90% fail again. So on an average, most of these schools estimate that 75% of your features or product that you launch do fail with one of these parameters. It is for you to understand and learn from these failures and go one step further then. Okay. So this is how I define a product failure. Now, next slide, I would want to take you guys through one of my personal experiences where I feel I failed and let me use a different term. Let me not call it failure. This was a non-success feature. And this is the bottom line to my breakdown to breakthrough scenario. So I will come to that. But I would like to call this a non-success feature because according to me, it was not a failure. We did get this product to be a success eventually. So back in 2017, when I was working for HDFC Red, we were asked to design a real estate search portal, which was different from anything else that was there in the market. There were big names back in the market back then as well, right? There was housing.com, there was Magic Bricks, Square Yards, Common Floor, 99 Acres, and all the big names that you can think of. So when we started analyzing the products that were there in the market, we did a competitive research, we did a market research, and we did a user research as well. User research was very limited because we were just growing and we did not have as many users. But we found that there were 4 major problems that we found out, which are listed over here. First, if any of y'all have bought a home or if any of y'all have tried to search a home, you would have realized that the search filters that are available for most of these portals are very tedious. Let me give you an example over here. All it says is, give me a BHK, give me the home size that you want, price that you want, and area that you want. Okay. Next, attention span. If you look at the screen, right, your attention goes everywhere on the screen. There's no one direction that the app is leading you, or there's no visual hierarchy to this. Okay, so they just clutter the space with a dearth of information that's thrown at you. Okay. Third is that agent community is very strong when it comes to most of these online applications. People still rely a lot on agents. People still prefer to have some opinion given by some other person. So that's the third problem that we were facing. Fourth is lack of transparency, wherein a lot of images or photos that were uploaded for the property were either incorrect or picked up from some other property and just put in over here. Okay, so as a user, you would not be able to rely on the application as much. Okay, so our solution to this was, so this is what we had designed in 2017. Instead of a filter-based search, we let the users decide what is their search criteria. Is budget important for them? Is location important for them? Is the home size important for them? Amenities or possession? Okay, they can easily prioritize that. Okay, this is important for me and show me homes basis this. Okay, next, to solve the attention span of the users, instead of showing 3 properties in one go, we would show 1 property at a time. Okay, we would make sure that the person understands the property, sees a great picture, which is now curated by our team, and we show limited information over here. We don't show we don't clutter the space with a lot of information. Okay. Third, we tried to solve the agent community part also as to a reassurance part with a feedback mechanism. Okay, so when you would click on this, it would also give you why this property is recommended for you. Okay, so in this overall schema, our idea or agenda was that you give us your preferences. We know the market, we understand the market, we have a great recommendation algorithm, and we will recommend which properties you should look for. Okay, Additionally, we would also give them feedback similar to what a real estate agent also does. He would tell them that, yes, this is home in your budget, this is where you're looking for, but oh no, this is not within your position time. Okay, so this is what we went for. Now, on paper, this sounds great, right? That yes, we're solving for all the problems that we had listed down, but we did not we did not get success right at the go. When we launched and when we spoke to a lot of these customers, we realized that they found the UX slightly complicated. Okay, they found that and understand that our user base or our demographic that we serve is from 30 till an age group of 60. So 30 to 40 age group will still be able to work around with this kind of UX, but from 40 to 60 would find it difficult to, either swipe. And also remember that these cars that we saw, these were left to right swipe. This was a very Tinder-based approach wherein you would get to swipe the properties one at a time and then use that approach. Okay. Initiative change, we also noticed that people want a lot of this information to be thrown at them. What they're trying to do is they're trying to shortlist some properties and then go for next set of validation. Third, because it was a recommendation algorithm, right? Back then, we were not able to add marketing capabilities to it. Just a background, HDFC relied on real estate developers, and we would provide leads to the real estate developers. Okay, so because this was a recommendation, we cannot now push the real estate developers who have actually paid us, right? Because then it would not, the recommendation algorithm would fail. So these were the challenges due to which we saw that, okay, this is not meeting our business metrics that we had aimed for. And now this is something that we're not succeeding. What we had to do, and this was a complete breakdown at that given time. The entire product team sat and we came up with some options as to how to even solve this or how to resolve this. For the complex UX problem, we revamped the UX in multiple ways. A very simple example is instead of a left to right and right to left swap, we did a bottom to top swipe. So users were used to using this kind of a swipe. They liked the animation with it. So most of the users were already using this bottom to top swipe, and when they saw the animation, they really loved it. Next, we eventually did show a lot of information which our competitors were also showing, but we ensured that it's shown in a very neat manner with negative space, making sure that every information is in a visual hierarchical manner. Third, now this is where the pure genius lies. Earlier, what would happen is if as a lead, I'm inquiring for a specific home, we would share only that lead with the real estate developer. Now, because we already know the user preferences, we know the budget that he's looking for, we know the area he's looking for, and we also know what position he's looking for, right? Now, that lead information we can sell to multiple developers instead of selling it to only one developer. Okay, so now our marketing opportunity actually exploded to more developers. In fact, we could go to developers who not registered with us and tell them that we have X amount of leads that you can buy from us today, and these are all qualified leads because they're filled in the preferences, and someone from our customer support team has validated that yes, these preferences are valid. So notice how there's an opportunity for you to move from a breakdown product and break through and achieve a breakthrough with that. Okay, so this was my non-success feature. One of the non-success features. I've had many with various parameters also, but this is something that I would want to highlight to you guys, that yes, there are non-success, there are failures. You need to embrace it and see how you can turn that into an opportunity. Okay, moving on. Let me just take a second. Let me just take a minute to explain the slide. On the x-axis, think of this as the stage of the product. On the y-axis, think of this as the cost to the organization. Now, if you think of the stage of the product, right in the research phase, while you're doing the research and you realize that, okay, this product will not work and this is a product failure, the cost to the company is low. Okay. Next, when you start implementing the solution or when you start working on the product, the cost to company increases. Next, when you actually go to the market with the product, your cost to the company increases further down. And when it becomes a challenge or when it becomes an issue is when you start iterating and pushing on the same product. When you don't accept that you failed or the product is not meeting the metrics that you went for at the first place, but still keep pushing for it and still keep trying and still keep iterating over it. This is where it leads to a deadlock situation. Okay, and this will lead to your product failure in a very negative way. As a great product manager, you need to ensure that you stop the flow or you realize that there's a problem in the research phase itself. Your research has to be that strong. You need to ensure you cover going back to my previous example, one of the main when we did a retrospection, one of the main concerns that we found was that when we did a user study, we had considered only one specific demographic. We did not consider this demographic which was above the age of 45. We did not do unit testing with them. We did not do interviews with them, which is what caused our product failure. If we had realized that in the research phase itself, our cost to the organization would have been much lower. Okay, so your aim as a great product manager would always be to notice or realize that your product is not up to the mark as early as possible in the stage of the product. Okay. Moving on, my learnings from these non-successful products, and I've highlighted that in pink because I want you guys to pay attention to this. First and foremost, stick to basics. There are technicalities which you will learn in product development. Stick to them. Prioritization is one of the most important things, and I saw that there were a lot of videos available on the Accredian with respect to different prioritization algorithms like Kano, Moscow, Rice. Stick to the prioritization algorithm that you prefer and you understand, but make sure you're a boss when it comes to prioritization. Okay. Second point, please understand that a product success is not attributed only to a great product. You may have done a great product, but if your marketing team is not marketing the product properly, you will not succeed. If the sales is not pushing for the right product sales, you're not succeeding. If the operations team is not giving the right service to the clients, it does not help in any way. Next, customer support. Customer support is a very neglected field, but as soon as there's a problem, this is the first touch point for your customers to come to, and your customer support has to be seamless. Finally, the team that gets involved in the entire product journey also is a growth and strategy team, which helps you grow the product from what it is today to a scalable position and to strategize how to achieve that scale. So please see or please understand that it's a lot of different teams which contribute to the success. Third, you need to know what metrics to optimize and at what stage of the journey. Now, there are two types or two breaks over here, and I'll explain this with a diagram. Let me just go, sorry. Let me just go to the next slide just to quickly explain you what I mean by that, right? Now, if you see, let me just explain the slide over here. These are different stages of your product journey or your company. When your company is in the growth mode, their metrics are different. This is sustainable mode wherein your companies come into a mode wherein you're now able to sustain. You're no more looking for growth as much. Next, you're in a mature state wherein now you're sustaining very well, and your people know about you, people have heard about you, and people are now using you. Okay. Again, this is bifurcated into two different types of segment. One is a B2C, wherein you're serving a customer. Second, wherein you're serving a customer who's an internal customer, like you build an application for your operations team or for your sales team and so on. Let's think about what a growth phase would need in the customer segment. The first type of metric that you would need here and the first focus area that you would have is acquisition. You would focus majorly on how you can acquire more and more customers and what is needed to acquire the customers. So as a company and as a product team, your focus should be on acquisition. Once you're in a sustained mode, you should focus on something called as ARPU, which is average revenue per user, making sure that you're able to generate more revenue by the product. Okay, this is how you sustain, this is how you create a revenue stream and make sure that you have a sustainable revenue model across the business. Okay, once you've matured, once you've moved away and you've been in the market for some time, the most important metric that you'll be following is the customer retention. Whoever is now transacting with you, you need to make sure that those customers are retained. Those customers keep coming back to you, and those customers keep transacting with you again and again and again. Okay, so this is, and there are many ways of doing this. Probably that's a different session altogether. But yes. Now, in terms of internal, for growth stage, there is this feature called as adoption rate. Like if you launch an application, you will have 10 features. You need to ensure that all the 10 features are being used by your internal team members. Okay. In sustenance and maturity phase, there's only one metric that gets used, which is called average handling time, which is an attribution to, if I were just to explain average handling time in simple language, it is the time taken on an average to complete a task. This leads to operational efficiency. Now think of it this way, right? If your team is doing a task which is taking 10 minutes, with the product, can you reduce that 10 minutes to 9 minutes? If you do that, you're saving 1 minute per every transaction for that team, right? Eventually, in the larger schema, that will result in operational efficiency and revenue and cost cutting for your organization. Okay, so as a team, please understand that average handling time is something that you look at from an operational point of view when you're in the sustenance and maturity phase. Okay. Going back to my previous slide, we covered the point 3, we covered the point 4 also in some way, wherein operational efficiency is something that you should focus in the entire journey. The B2C customer or the client-facing application always is a great success metric, but to support the front-end application, you will need to make a lot of these back-end applications that are integrated in a way wherein the data gets passed to your relevant stakeholders in a seamless manner. What this means is, and let me take a very quick example. In the customer support team, right? When your customer reaches the support team, your support team needs to know the history of that client, the journey of that client, and what problem he may or may not face, right? So it's your responsibility to make sure that operationally you're giving all the tools or all the data that is possible for the support team. Okay. Fifth point, I think we've already spoken about this. Be ready to adapt, be open to changes. There's never a time when you will be like, no, I've created a product and this is it, this will not change. Every product needs to evolve. Think of any product that you can think of, that product evolves every 2 to 3 months. Okay, so if this is a constantly iterative process, you need to look at your data, you need to look at your product metrics and how they're performing over time. There will be some metrics that you will track on a daily basis, some on weekly basis, some on monthly basis, but these metrics will define the kind of iteration that you need to make in future. Okay. Sixth is a very fun point, but listen to your users, but do not abide by it. Please understand that user empathy is very important, but many a times users are not the right people to give you all the inputs, right? Think of any major product and think of what the user feedback would have been. I keep giving this example. Back in the day, if you had asked the person on the horse what they would want for their needs to be solved, he would have asked for a faster horse and not a car, right? But it's your job to understand what the user is saying, to also understand the unstated preferences, what the user is not saying, and then build your product accordingly. Okay, so just to recap, it's stated preferences and unstated preferences that have to be deduced by you as a product manager to then decide what is it that you need to give to the customer. Okay, final point, keep it simple. Do not overcomplicate stuff. I think this is something that a lot of people have already spoken, and we've spoken in the UX part as well. The best products are applications or products which are the most simple to use. One of the examples I keep giving everyone is that of Candy Crush game. I'm sure you guys must have used it. Candy Crush is a game which can be played by an 80-year-old and an 80-year-old. Because why is it so widely adopted? Because it's just swipe left, right, or swipe top, bottom, and there's not much that people need to do, right? It's the simplest application that you can think of. So whenever you're thinking of the most simple application, think of Candy Crush, and that's the kind of user experience that you would want to give to your users. Okay. My final slide that I would want to present to you guys is just a recap of whatever we've spoken. There are two types of failures that you can prevent. Some things are in product and engineering teams' control. Some you'll have to collaborate with the other teams. And this is and for both the sections, you will play a major role when it comes to the success of the product. This again will be a repeat to what we've already spoken, but a thorough market research is always needed to avoid product failures. And this also includes your competitive research and user research, just to make sure that you've not missed out on any point or missed out on any use case or a corner case scenario. Second, plan your success metrics from both short-term and long-term perspective. Many a times it may so happen that we get impatient with what we're looking for, and we expect the world to change from day one. Please understand that there have to be short-term success metrics and long-term success metrics, and you're supposed to define them and understand how to achieve them. Okay. Third, I've said this before, prioritize like a boss. Be ready to say no. Be ready to be disliked by your business stakeholders, and please be okay with that. Saying no is one of the most important things in product management that you learn, because everybody would have ideas, everybody would have feature requests, everybody would have problem statements to be solved. It's your responsibility to prioritize and decide whether something needs to be done today, tomorrow, or not done at all. Okay. Fourth point in this is like I told you about my problem as the failure that I had also involve customers early in design cycle. Like while you're, I'm not sure how many of you have used unit testing, user testing. In user testing, what happens is once you're done designing the product, you can hand it over to a client or a user or a speculated user and give them tasks. Let them play around with the application, and you need to observe how that person's performing with the application. If he's not able to perform the task well, that's a failure. You need to then maybe revamp the UX, or you need to then look at how you can streamline that. But involve customer feedback as early as possible. It will help you grow. Fifth point, we've spoken about this, so I'll not get into this. Sixth, competitive research is very important. It will help you time your features. It will also help you understand what is a must-have, which your other companies are providing, and what is a USP that you are providing to your customers, which the other applications are not. Okay, so your competitive analysis is one of the most important steps in your entire research phase. Seventh point under the product and engineering team is always collect user feedback, always break them down and keep analyzing them. Okay, your customer feedback will change over time. It's your responsibility to make sure that they are always satisfied. Be it with the help, and these can be your one-to-one interviews with the customer. You can otherwise send them a form. You can also look at the reviews that they post on Google or App Store, Play Store, but read as much as you can about the customer feedback and learn from them. Okay. With the other teams, when you collaborate with other teams, we've spoken with the sales team, you need to price the product well. If it's too expensive, people will not use your product. If it's low, you will not be able to achieve business metrics. Okay. Second is ensure that when your sales team is going to sell the product, they are skilled and motivated and they have all the information to sell the product. It's your responsibility to guide them and to tell them that these are the feature specs that we have, which are not there in the market. And this is something that you need to focus on. Okay. Help them or guide them in their entire sales journey. Third point, always work with the marketing team to make sure that you have a very comprehensive marketing plan and a go-to-marketing strategy. You can also sit with them and plan them what campaigns we should run, what kind of demographic we should target, what regions we should target, and just plan the entire strategy with them. But be a part of that planning. Don't think that your product journey or your product responsibility ends once you've given the product. Okay. Fourth point, from an operational point of view, also look at how your operational team is performing. Okay. What support do they need when they have to service your clients? And how can you streamline their functioning? Okay. Fifth, again, this leads to your customer satisfaction part. You have to have a great customer support wherein you can then make sure that, see, as I said, this is the first touch point that a user gets. And you need to make sure that they are delighted with the customer support that they get. Even if that means you have to give them some freebies or something which is uncalled for, make sure that they have a great experience with you as a brand. Okay, so this is how you collaborate with other teams and support them in the product success as well. Finally, I know we've spoken about prioritization. I know we've spoken about various algorithms that you can use. Something that I love to use also is an Eisenhower matrix, broken down into urgency and importance. Okay, so something that is urgent and important is something that you need to prioritize now. Okay, something that is not important, but it is urgent, right? A very simple example can be that while customers facing some payment issue, right? Which may be a small amount, but it's an urgent because this involves customer satisfaction. So you need to delegate it to some other team member who can take this forward, maybe to a customer support team, maybe to your product manager who can then delegate and get the work done. If it's important but not urgent, let's say a task is very important to achieve your business metrics, but this is something that can be taken a little later. This is something, which is not affecting your overall business metrics. You can do this at a later stage of time. Okay. Something that is neither important nor urgent, put this in the backlog, let it rot there. Like, this is not something that you should focus at all. And don't let anybody or any business stakeholder bully you to take these features. So again, this is a great way to prioritize your features, but this is an overall metric. You need to use product management algorithms, which are more like a Kano algorithm or a Moscow RICE. I personally love to use a RICE method because that just gives me very clear indication on what brings most impact with the least amount of effort. So that's from my side, guys. Thank you for being a lovely audience. I would love to take questions from you guys now. I see that there are 3 questions in the chat already. Please feel free to drop in more questions and we'll try to answer them.
Mithil, meanwhile, first of all, I'll tell you, just not for the sake of telling this, but this session was really awesome. I mean to say, I got to know so much from you. Really, I enjoyed thoroughly. Even I was engaging in the chat box itself and really enjoyed it a lot. So I have 2 questions for you, okay? See, first you told that you've told about your failure, right? In how, so in HDFC Red, you did the whole product development for their team, right? What happened is when I was going through your product development cycle, I thought this is a very fine product, right? That this exactly solves what the problem statement is, right? But then you're saying that no, that adoption rate is very low. People are finding it very hard to use, right? Because the target audience is the age bracket is not aligned with the product feature, right? So, but on the face of it, it was looking perfectly all right. So in this particular context, what happens in today's world where you're telling that customer preferences are changing, industries are changing, right? There are daily innovations going on in the market, right? Yeah. So the need to be there at the correct time is very high as of now, right? We have to be on our toes. So what happens, people, product builders, they tend to think of a problem which might not be a very huge problem, but they see it in their vicinity and they think that, okay, this can be a huge problem, right? Let's do something on it. And they give their hearts out to it and they try to build something rapidly, right? But what happens when they start testing, they see that this is not at all a big size, right? The market size is not very huge, right? So to guide product managers in this particular dilemma, right? What basic intuition or basic frameworks a product manager should have while they are thinking of a problem statement to solve, right? That's my first question, Mithil.
Okay. So, Saikat, firstly, thank you for that question. I think that's a great question. And that's something that a lot of people do face, and I faced in my personal journey as well, right? So the first thing that, when you start thinking of a product is a market research as well, right? A market research would also tell you what is your target market like, right? Now, like you said, right, there may be a feature or there may be a problem that seems great to me, but how many other folks are also facing that problem? What's that target size like? Is that target size in hundred, thousands, or millions or billions, right? Then also whether the target audience that we're talking about, and it's completely okay to have 100 as your target number. But if you can make sure that those 100 people are subscribing to you, and they're paying for that product, and they're paying a huge sum for that product. Okay, it's completely fine. So understand that your target audience, or when you do a market research, you need to make sure that you have a target audience, and a target audience which would, and that problem should be sufficient enough for that target audience to pay for that problem, and pay handsomely, so that you and your business can survive with that amount.
Definitely. So the key takeout is that the problem statements should be substantial enough with
Yeah.
a total market huge enough, right? And right, so that brings the business in, right? Ultimately. Great, great. I've been through your journey in the development, right? I've seen how, what kinds of industries you have been to. And right now you're working with Isprava, right? I think the parent company, I forgot the name. What's the parent company?
Parent company is called Isprava Group.
Isprava Group.
There are two brands, Isprava and Lohono Stays.
Lohono Stays,
Isprava,
right.
wherein we build and sell luxury villas.
Right.
And Lohono Stays is the hospitality vertical, wherein we rent out private luxury villas across India and Southeast Asia.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, I was just confusing it, Lohono and Isprava. So
Yeah.
what in this particular what in this particular session, what we could understood is that there are two phases. Basically, if I want to say, there are two product managers as a whole. One who is an internal product manager, and the other one who is a B2B or a customer-facing product manager, right? And that's a very interesting part that you have shared. The matrices to be tracked as per the PLC, right? What matrices an internal product manager should follow and what a B2B manager should follow, right? And I think that's a huge takeaway for all of you guys as well. Right. So without any further ado, I have too many questions to ask, but I'll take the Q&A because it's already time. Okay.
Like just to add to that, right? What I've seen is a lot of people talk about B2C products.
Right.
Not a lot of people talk about internal products, like what metrics should we follow? How should we even tackle these? And what should be the ROI that you try to derive out of these? So
Absolutely.
great point. I think that's a great catch. And that's something that I really hope that people invest more time in.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah. So basically, okay, let's not dive into it because, okay. So I'll take the first question. So Priyanshu Sharma, he says, in context to apartment listing app, do you think an AI-powered database crawler that can categorize apartment listing based on user preference and inputs would be a good approach? Essentially, this would replace the traditional agent with system hyper-focused on singular task of segregation, offering only the most relevant listings tailored to buyers or renters, right? So that's our first question. Do you think an AI-powered database crawler could be a handy tool to use to replace all the manual work, right?
Yeah. So Priyansh, great question. And thank you for asking this question. Let me answer this to a certain extent, yes. And we would reach that phase eventually, right? But all AI, like we've reached a stage wherein AI enhancements are to a great extent, right? But they will still not close the job for you, or close the take you to the last mile. It'll do a great job in recommending maybe 5 to 6 properties at both selling and rental space. But you will still have to go and see the property live to see whether the home is actually meeting your expectations or not. Because what AI will give you is the data that someone feeds into it, right? I will put that my property is sea facing, which it may not be, right? So while the solution is great, while the solution takes care of not replacing the manual agent, let me clarify, it's not replacing the manual agent, but assisting the agent, right? Now think of this as a combined approach. What if in the backend you have an AI agent? Okay, let's say as a customer you put in your preferences. Basis that as a customer support agent, I get the preferences. I have a backend engine which gives me 5 or 6 options that I should propose to Priyanshu. Now I have my expertise. I will filter it down further and say, Priyanshu, I have the best property for you. I have verified and I have vetted it at my end as well. And this is something that you should go for. Okay. So, and trust me, we will reach a stage wherein you don't even need that personal or that first round of filter. That AI agent will be able to give you the final property that you should go and visit and close. But till we reach that stage, we will need that person as it's a mixed model that I would recommend right now. But we will reach that stage soon, maybe in the next, I can't even predict because it can be either 6 months or 2 years, but we will reach that stage certainly and surely. I hope that answers your question, Priyanshu.
Absolutely. I think it does. Is my video paused or something? Okay, fine. Moving on to the next question. Pranay asks, when it comes to product failure, we always deep dive into it to understand its reasons, right? But when product is successful, did this kind of stuff happens, right? And if yes, then how to overcome is related or help in future product launch. Okay. So basically he asked, right, you understood, right?
Yeah. So Pranav, thank you for the question. So now in any professional setup, right, what happens is there's something called a sprint retrospection. What you do is after a certain time or in every sprint, you retrospect on how the sprint went. Again, there are models to this, right? There are these ship model. There is this sailboat model. There is this 4L models wherein as stakeholders in that development cycle, you will and let me just pick up 4L model, right? You will have to tell what you liked in the sprint, what you learned in the sprint, what you lacked in the sprint, and what you longed for in the sprint. Okay. So, and this is both, right? If you see, you're saying what you liked and what you lacked as well, right? And there can be simpler models just saying, yeah, this was positive, this was negative, right? So after every sprint or after every feature, as a product team or as the business stakeholders, you need to sit together, be it success or be it failure. A retrospection is to be done for all of these features or products. Once you've gone live, it's very important for you to retrospect and take away insights that yes, this is what went well, this is what did not go well, and this is what we need to do, or corrective measures. What went well, we need to continue on that. What did not go well, you need to improve, learn from it, and then make sure that does not happen. So while it happens all on overall product failure or success level as well, it also happens on a sprint level. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, people do track it on success level as well and learn from it, as I said.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have 3 questions now who I think categorizes in a similar fashion. So basically, people are asking, we as a product manager, we do face failures, right? Yeah. So how to face them, how to be normalized with it, and how to move ahead with our tasks, right? So I think maybe a mindset kind of question. So yeah.
Sure. So see, first step in accepting that you failed is first step in this entire phase is you need to accept that you failed. Okay, that's the most important step. Next, you need to understand why you failed. Okay, and you can just sit down separately and say, yeah, this is where I went wrong, or this is where we went wrong collectively, and then see how to not repeat it. Okay. And what I used to do in my early days is, just put in posters at my desk that this is what I need to stay away from. Okay. Judging or over empathizing and so on. Right. So, as a product manager, you need to be very clear and see, it's not something someone's holding a gun to your head and saying, yeah, you failed. Please embrace failures. Okay. And I'd like to just, I'm a big believer in Jeff Bezos as well. He's created this entire culture wherein innovation is the key. And this is one of my close friend who's a product manager at Amazon has told me, that if you don't, like out of the 10 features you're shipping in Amazon, if you don't fail in more than 6 features, you're not considered an innovator. Okay. So in Amazon, people they're expected to fail, or they set the benchmark so high that it's okay to fail. But what is not okay is that you're not innovating. Okay. So please embrace failures. Be okay to fail. Don't think that how can I face myself or how do I face the team? No, you need to go with the same confidence, but at the same time, make sure you learn from your failures. That's the most important thing.
Right. I think that exactly answers the question. And we have multiple questions coming up in this similar line. But folks, I hope you have got the idea, right? What mindset to follow. But like we are at the end of this session. Mithil, thank you so much. It was really amazing. Just to consolidate what you have learned, I'll just nudge our participants. First of all, sticking to basics, Mithil, if I'm not wrong, is very important, right? Saying no is equally important as well, right? And don't just listen to your users. Oh, sorry. Don't just listen to users, but don't just oblige them, right? Try to ask questions more, right? And yeah, you also got to know what an internal and B2B product manager is. We have learned so many things. So Mithil has also consolidated the learning at his last slide. Folks, you can revisit this recording. You can ask questions moving forward. And thanks so much, Mithil, for joining us today. I think that would be a wrap for today's session. And guys, you can follow Mithil as well in LinkedIn. Mithil, maybe you can drop your ID, no? Yeah.
Just give me 1 second.
By the way, I had a question to ask you. So I was following your stint with Yotaka, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pronouncing it right? Yotaka.
That's right. That's right.
So is it derived from a like Japanese name kanji? Is it or?
So actually, no.
Okay, so
But
that's
it's just a conversation starter. We were like, okay, let's name something that is a conversation starter with people.
it works. It
Yeah,
works, right?
That's how it
Yeah, and also the product, I think Yaha or something, right?
Yeah.
Yaha, yeah.
That was the parking application that we had built.
Right, I saw that video as well.
Yeah.
Guys, you should all check it out. Very interesting product in AI space, definitely. And do give Mithil a follow. And by the way, we have the 4th episode is coming tomorrow with a really interesting session again. So we hope that you all will join. And yeah, let's call it a day. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you. By the way,
organizing the session, Quikr and Accredian team, this was a great session. Team, thank you so much for joining. I would love to answer more queries that you have on LinkedIn. Please let me know how I can help in your career as well and trade. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Guys, before you drop off, there is a feedback form which will be floated. Please do fill it. Mithil, thanks so much. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Quikr.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Guys, the feedback form link is there in the chat. Do let us know what you felt about this session and what could be improved, right? I hope today's session was great.